What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Ask Dan Anything. And we've got an emotional question today. Why do I panic and how do I stop panicking? This is from a client of mine, Vidrana. Why do I panic and how do I stop panicking? Let's start by having a look at what panic really is. You know, that kind of sensation you get where it's extreme anxiety, your heart's racing, your mind's racing, you feel stuck and yet moving at an extreme pace at the same time. I've been exploring panic a lot over the last few months, and I've come to the conclusion that panic is a kind of a short circuit in your brain. It's what happens when you are trying to control something that your brain knows cannot be controlled. So you're attempting the impossible. Panic happens when, let's say you're running late for a job interview and you're trying to not be late, and yet your brain's done the calculations, it's looked at the traffic, looked at the time you left, it knows you're going to be late, and yet you're pressuring your brain to somehow remedy this impossible situation. And that's when a panic happens. Maybe you're worried about, say, how a date is going to go. You start panicking about that. Your brain simultaneously, on one hand, it knows that you can't control how well the date's going to go because the other person is uncontrollable. And yet on the other hand, it's feeling a huge immense pressure from within to control that other person. And so it panics. It's like jumping off a cliff and trying to live. Your brain knows you can't, and so it panics. So panicking, understand that when panic happens, when that high stress level happens, you're trying to control something that cannot be controlled. You put yourself in an impossible situation. Now, how do we stop this? One of the key elements here is around focus. See, I believe in a thing that I've started calling the realm of power. And that is the line between what you can influence and what you can't. And what you can influence is a very tiny amount of your life. It's basically your reaction to something in terms of behavior is about all you can really control. And everything outside of that is further and further away from your control, like a spectrum. So something like somebody else's mood or their belief system or traffic, those things are miles out of your control. And things like your behavior and what you focus on and that kind of thing is much closer to being under your control. So panic is when your point of focus has gone way into that out of control zone. The thing you're focused on, the thing you're trying to influence is in the zone that cannot be influenced, the powerless zone. So you're in this realm where there is no power. You have no power over the traffic, you have no power over somebody else's decisions. But your brain tells you should somehow, that somehow you are going to be the special Superman who can. So how to stop panicking is about where you focus. It's about where your attention is placed. Because believe it or not, even though it doesn't feel like it, you choose where your attention is placed. If you're sitting there stuck in traffic, panicking about being late for the job interview, you've placed your attention in the traffic and in the job interview. You've placed your attention on the point of whether or not you get the job, which is so far out of your realm of power that your brain panics. It goes, how am I supposed to control this thing that I'm powerless to control? So stopping panicking is, I believe it's a two-step process. The first step is to let go of control completely, to get back to zero, to kind of wipe the slate clean. And this is a mental exercise. The way I like to think about it is, it's like being in the ocean and just lying back and floating and allowing the waves to kind of crash against you and not doing anything about it. It's to stop struggling and stop drowning and just lie back and float. So if you're stuck in traffic, to just go, okay, big deep breath, here I am in traffic, what's done is done. I am now late for my job interview, that is the truth, I'm done. Just giving yourself a few seconds or a few minutes to just lie back and just accept what's happening. And then the second step is to then take your point of focus away from that powerless realm, put it back into the powerful realm. To take your point of focus and bring it back to you deciding what you're going to do next, rather than you trying to control outcomes. So if I'm stuck in traffic, what I might do is practice for the job interview, Or I might, I know I'm not allowed to, but I might say pull over and send a text or call the person for the interview and tell them I'm going to be late. These are all things I can control. I can make myself do these things. I might even just put on some music and enjoy the ride because, it's game over anyway. If I'm, panicking about going on a date or something like that, I can just sit back, allow myself to come to terms with the idea that I cannot make someone like me, that's out of my control, and instead just focus on putting on my clothes or putting on my makeup or, enjoying some nice music, calling a friend to get myself, feeling social, whatever. Things I can control. So, summarising that, what is panic? Panic is your brain short-circuiting because you're trying to force it to control something that it cannot. You're trying to force it to be powerful in its powerless realm. And how do you stop it? First, go back to zero, lie back, let everything fall apart if need be. And then second, focus on what you can control, which is your own behaviour right now, with no other purpose but to control your behaviour, not to make it achieve an outcome. Hope that was helpful. Send your questions through to dan@brojo.co.nz, and if you want further guidance on how to focus on your powerful realm, grab a copy of my book, Nothing to Lose. I'll post a link in the comments below. Catch you guys later.